Hello, everybody. My name's Kristi Haadem, and I work at North Star School. I work in the resource room for the elementary students, and I want to share with you an educational program that I use quite frequently in the resource room called iknowit.com. It's a math-based site that is based off of skills, and you can assign different lessons to the kids under their individual accounts, or you can have them log into their accounts and just randomly do math facts or math practice lessons based off of their interests. So I'm going to show you a short introductory video on the I Know It, and then we will explore the site some. Okay, so here is the homepage for the iknowit.com, and it says that it's kindergarten through 5th grade, but I have students that I work on basic foundational skills at the preschool level with, that's covered in the kindergarten section that would work with preschoolers. I also have 6th graders that are either below grade level in their skills, or that have needing for skills that are listed in the 5th grade, but they're more advanced and actually like 6th grade skills. So here is a brief overview of I Know It.
I Know It! I Know It is an interactive math practice website designed to complement standard math curriculums and give students in kindergarten through grade 5 extra math practice. With over 500 lessons to choose from, practicing math online has never been so easy and so much fun. Teachers and students alike will enjoy I Know It's many helpful features. Our animated characters offer encouragement by cheering when students answer a question correctly, and detailed explanations when problems are solved incorrectly. Whether it's learning how to calculate the area of a rectangle, adding 3-digit numbers, or identifying fractions, I Know It has a lesson plan fit for your students. With its user-friendly design, I Know It is making teaching and learning math easier and more fun. I Know It allows teachers to assign lessons to individuals or entire classes, and with its performance tracker, monitoring students' progress has never been easier. With I Know It, your students will experience math in a whole new way. I Know It.
Okay, so just some features that I really like about the I Know It program is, like I said, it's multi-age, so you can, when you log on, you can say, okay, I've got a 4th grader, but they are doing math skills at the 2nd grade level, and it will tailor it down to the 2nd grade level. It doesn't say, oh, I'm in 4th grade and I have 2nd grade skills. It will say I have B skills or I have C skills. So you can't, the kids don't realize that they're going so much lower on their skills. They're just based off of their abilities. So to log on as a teacher, I hit the log on button, and then I go to log in and I choose teacher, and I have my email set up, my K-12 account, and my password that automatically pops in, and you hit log in. Okay, and then it will say who you are. Hi, Kristi. to say, hey, yes, you are logged in. And it pops up for you to be able to assign lessons or define lessons. Right now it's under the teacher page since I logged in as a teacher. So I can go in and click on my students and I can see, oh, this is the class that I have set up. And like I said, you list their actual grade level of what they're in, and then under their name, you can assign what their actual math ability is. So here I have a 5th grader whose math ability is closer to 1st grade, 2nd grade. So I have the math ability listed as 1st grade or 2nd grade. And it's all lined up so that when they go into their account, so I'm just going to log in like that student. When they go into their account to see what is available to them, it will come up with saying, these are the things that the teacher had assigned for them to practice. And then it also says, hey, these are skills that you might want to work on that are at the level that you are currently working at. And like I said, it doesn't give a grade level, it just says level A topics. Let's say none of those topics are ones that you want to do. You can also look at ones that are a little higher up and look at level E. And level E takes you all the way up to what your appropriate grade level would be. But like I said, there's nowhere to say, oh, this is 5th grade skills. It's just reserved for the teacher to know what grade level was assigned to them. So going back to the home page, these are the assignments that I have set up for him to be working on. I'll go into how to do the assignment in a little bit under more detail, but when you search out the assignment as a teacher, you can assign it and say, this is something that I want to work on, and break it down into what skill you want them to work on, how many questions you want them to have for it, what the requirement is in order for them to get done with the assignment, and going from there of what the necessary requirements are. Or if you just want to do a, hey, work on math today, and you don't want to have them work on a certain assignment, they can go in and choose any topic that they want and find interesting. One that I really like working on when it comes to kids is the word problems. And so the word problems are set up so that if they're able, they can read the problem. Otherwise, it's set up that it can read it for them. I don't know why my sound button isn't coming up. So I'm going to try a different one to show you an example of what the actually looks like. So let's say kindergarten I want to work on, and I want to work on counting objects to 5. There's my sound button. If they can't read it, they're either a struggling reader or they have trouble with the vocabulary that are being used. It does give a sound button that you can push, and you push that and it will read the sentences to them.
Count the globes. How many are there?
Okay, so they've heard the question, they see the picture, there's 1 globe here, so they have to find the 1 on the number pad and hit submit. Okay, or sometimes it will have the question.
Count the dots. How many are there? 5, 4.
And it will read the choices to go along with the picture. So you answer it just by clicking on the button. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 spots. And hit submit. And all the kids that I work with, at least they seem entertained by the robot setting, but there's also where you can choose to just do in like an emoji, like a clip art to give support. And I'll do a couple with that emoji. So we've got count the cubes. How many are there? 1, 2. Here we're selecting the answer again, typing in 2, and this time it will just change based off the happy emoji face. So we've got another question. Count the rectangles.
Count the rectangles. How many are there? 5, 4.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Click on the right answer, hit submit. And like I said, it's just not as entertaining as the dancing robot that gives you the support with the music and the animation. Let's say you've got a kid who really doesn't want the distraction at all. They don't want the dancing music, they don't want the animation, they don't want the clip art to give them reward. There's also the option where you're having nothing and they're just answering the questions. So this is also a choice if you don't want them to get distracted by, I've got so many right or so many wrong. Now, it will show up on your progress and it will also show up on your score, but it won't give you the reward of the actual animation or the clip art. So you still have the sound button.
How many counters are there?
And you still have the option of having the right answer. But it's just really quiet and let you go on to the next question. I'm going to do a sample one of, let's say I get an answer wrong. So I'm going to click on it.
Count the apples. How many are there? 1, 4.
Okay, so I look at it and let's say I'm not paying attention and I say, oh, well, there's 1 banana there. And I click on the 1. So when I hit submit, it will come up and tell me that my answer was incorrect. It gives you the answer that you chose and then what the actual correct answer should be. And then it gives you an explanation of why is it that answer. So it gives you the apples, it counts them off. and it goes from there. Got to plug in my computer. Okay, so the one disadvantage that I don't like about the explanation is if you have somebody who is a struggling reader and they are struggling with the concept of reading or struggling with the concepts of math, the explanation gives you the clue of the picture to go with it, but it does not give you the option to have it read aloud to you in order to get that extra comprehension that way. You can also go back, and if you're like, well, I want to look at that question again, you go back and it will give you the question up on top to go along with what the answer was, what you chose for an answer, and the explanation down at the bottom. So that's if you get something wrong. You also have the option of getting so many hints to help you out. Let's say you're stuck and you want a hint. You get so many hints, so count the notebooks, how many are there? And I say, well, let's see. I know there's 1, 2, 3, but I'm not sure exactly what that 3 looks like. And I'm struggling. I can hit end. It gives you an example of, oh, so 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's what the 3 looks like. That's what I'm looking for. And then it will tell me that I have 2 hints left. So you can't get a hint on every single problem, just the ones that you're really struggling on. And then you can click out of it and say, oh, that helped me out. There are 3 notebooks, and hit the submit. Now, like I said, my favorite, and the kids from what I've seen, their favorite is having at least the clip art to go along with it. So count the dots, how many are there? My options are 3 or 2. Well, there are 3 there. And my robot comes back. Okay, so counting the cubes, there are 3 of them. I'll just go through real quick what it looks like if you answer all the questions. Okay, I'm gonna do the wrong answer. See, if you're on the robot mode, it will tell you that you got it wrong, give you that disgusting sound that I know the kids absolutely hate to hear. And like I said, give you an explanation of what the actual answer is. So how many ladybugs? There are 2. How many pencils? There are 3. Dots, there are 2. Counting the cubes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it will give you, I've got it selected if you're just doing a lesson to practice skills, it's set up for 15 questions, at least that's what my preference is. You can have it, if you're assigning lessons, you can choose how many questions you want it to give you. And it can go up from 15 to however many sample questions you want to have. So let's say for some reason I want to go back and I don't remember getting those problems wrong. I can hit my questions and it will break it down for what questions you had, what your answers were, what the correct answer was, and that does not pop up when I'm in the teacher mode. So if the teacher is completing the assignment, it won't count towards me. It doesn't count towards progress or anything if it's the teacher. If it's the student going in and doing a practice, they can click on that, and like I said, it will come up with a breakdown of the questions and what they got right and what they got wrong and what their score was. I'd like to show you now how to do an assignment. So let's say I want to work on position words. Okay. It can break it down to what grade level you're looking at, and it will look for whatever words you put in. So for me, I wanted both position and words, so the first spot would probably be what would be best. But it also gives all the different word problems that would come up and what grade level they're at for skill-wise, so you know how complicated the problems are and what kind of skills are needing. So I want to go into kindergarten for position words. I can click on it and then say assign. And I've already got some kids that I've assigned this to. I've assigned this lesson already to Zach, and I've already assigned this lesson to Dakota. I'm just, let's say, if I wanted to, I could say I wanted it with all my students and all of them would be clicked and have access to doing that lesson. Or I can say some students and just click on who you do want to have. So, and assign it that way. So done with that, they would be able to go in, they'd be able to work on their assignments, and those two that I have it assigned to, and when they have it done with so many percentage correct, then it would come up under the progress for assignments, and I could say, okay, well, I want an overview, and I'd look for that actual assignment, and I'm looking for the position and location, level K. I've got it assigned for 2 of my students, like you saw earlier. One of the students has completed it. They completed it on October 17th is when it was assigned to them, and they have to do it until it's completed with a certain percentage. So let's say I go in here and I want to know, okay, which one student did it. I can click on the assignments and look at it and say, well, on December 2nd, Zach did it, but he didn't pass it with the needed percentage. And I usually set it for about 80 or 85% because that's a good goal for if they can get it that far, they probably know the skill well enough. There are some of the kids when it comes to skills that they just have to know, like addition or subtraction, multiplication, division. I might set it for a higher percentage correct and say, well, I want them to have at least 90% or 95% accuracy. And since those are such key components that are so important, and it would keep, the way I've got it set up, they'd keep having that assigned in their assignments until they reach that percentage. So on October 17th, Dakota had started it, but had not reached the required. So it's in there still that he needs to work on. So, and I don't want to delete the assignment. Okay, and this is also where I would have my example of, to complete this assignment, I want them to answer 20 questions. And for this, I said, yes, it would be auto reassigned if the score is less than 85%. So they'll keep working on it until they reach the 85, if not higher percent. So that's if I want to have an overview of all the assignments. Let's say I want to go into one certain student to see, okay, how have they been doing on their assignments? I go into the assignments and individual students, and this will give me a breakdown of how many assignments each student has out and what they're working on. So, example, we had seen Josh a little earlier. Example of, if I go into Zach and I click on the 3 assignments, it tells me that these are the 3 lessons that I have assigned that I want him to be working on. They're all at level K. They're all assigned in October, but we have not mastered them at the 85% or higher yet for the number of questions that are asked of him. So there is no due date. I just want the skill addressed and mastered. So there are some kids who we just got done with distance learning and have been really busy with getting their assignments in, and as you can see, those come up with the red saying, hey, they have no assignments out, so I need to go in and assign more assignments. There's also the option of, if they've been working on an assignment for a long time and I'm thinking, you know what, they just need a new chance at it. I could go in, I could delete that assignment off their list and put something in at a lower level maybe, or put it in for fewer questions, or lower the expectation of hitting the 85% or higher and going from there. So that gives me, if I wanted to look at the assignments, the part that I like, if I don't want to go into the assignments view and break it down for who did what and what kind of scores they got, I can also go into the progress. And in progress, I can just go, okay, well, I haven't looked at my I know it in a few days. Who's been logged on? Who's been doing what? And it will give a breakdown of on what day they logged on, who logged on, what they worked on, and the score that they got. So like Zach was logged on yesterday. He did positions and location words. He got 13 out of 20 correct, which is a 65%. And like I said, my goal is to have them at least 85% or higher. So that assignment is still out there for them practicing. So if I went into his assignments, like I did earlier, you'd see that position and location is still up for him to practice. So for when I do my 9 weeks progress, I can go into my printable reports and look at it and say, let's say I'll look at Carson's. And I'm going to put in that we're in 2020 and start it from the second 9 weeks and say, I want to look at October 19th through where we're at today, so December 3rd. And I want to submit it to generate a report. And it gives all those different reports into one central location. So in November, he was logged on for 142 minutes. In October, he was only logged on for 19 minutes. And I never trust the logon history of what time it says that you're logged on. I have not been able to figure out where the central time zone is. So it's not accurate for the actual time on the clock that they're there, but the number of minutes is still accurate. It also gives what standards they looked at for what was assigned to them. It gives the highest scores of the ones that they were on, how long they were on the program, whether it was assigned or not. So whether I assigned it in the teacher section and they worked on it because I wanted them to work on it, or if it was something that they were able to go on and say, well, this is something that interests me, I want to work on the skill. So it's easy to determine where that skill came from. It also shows these are the skills that we need to work on. So based off of this, we've got a lot of first grade skills that he's still really struggling on. And this is a first grader. So he's where he's at ability-wise. I didn't have him go down lower than where he'd be at with level A, which, like I said, is first grade level. The few kindergarten things I did give him, he got 100% on the number bonds, but it took him 43 minutes in order to get that 100%. The other kindergarten one, the number bonds up here that he was looking at, that he did a day earlier, he was at 45 minutes, but he scored 70%. So they were reassigned to him. So he came back, did it a second time. And like I said, it took him a little less time, but he got a higher score. So that breaks it down for percentages for the student report. That you can print out. Let's say I was going to show you how to assign it if you want to have more than one lesson assigned for students. And let's say I'm looking at, I've got a lot of kids who are around first, second grade when it comes to their math ability right now. So I'm going to look in my second grade and look at it and say, okay, well, I want to assign telling time to the hour. So I would assign that lesson, and then it comes up and says, okay, who do you want to assign that to? And I could choose it to go to all my students, or I could choose some students. And I'm just going to click on the ones who need telling time to the hour. So I'm just going to randomly assign to the ones that would be working on that. Okay, so I've got them assigned. Then here's where I say where it's going to be displayed at. So if I want it until they get a certain percentage on it, I'd have till they've completed the lesson. Or let's say I only want to give them a week to work on it, or I only want to give a certain amount of time. I can say a certain date range, and then it will only show up on their assignments for that amount of time, and then it will disappear whether they've mastered it or not. I usually say until they've completed the assignment or completed the lesson. And then you could have a certain amount of problems is how I usually will do it. Or you can say, well, I want them to work on this skill for 15 minutes. Or for a certain amount of problems, I want them to do 20 problems of it. And if you do want a certain amount of problems, you can choose how many problems you want to have assigned. My standard, if I'm actually assigning the lesson, is I usually say 20 to 25 problems. But when I had first done it, I was looking at like 50 problems, and to make sure they've really mastered it, because like we know the law of averages, there's a better chance they could get something wrong if there are more problems, and they would still end up passing the lesson than to have the smaller amount of problems, but then you've got to get more accuracy for those. So I'll just say, for the sake right now, that I want 20 problems. And then here's where you assign if you want it reassigned, if it's below a certain percentage. And you'd say yes. And then it gives the breakdown that you'd want to do. And like I said, I usually do either 85 or 90%. And then you'd hit assign now. And it's been saved. So if I look under my assignments, I've got the telling time that I just assigned today. I assigned it to 5 students. As of right now, nobody's done it. Well, I just assigned it. The assignment details tell me, well, they're going to have 20 questions. I want no less than 90% on it, and who it's assigned to and when I assigned it. So let's say I change my mind and I want somebody to receive it that didn't. I can go in and say, I want to give that assignment to Josh. I just click assign, and I'd be able to assign it to him and say yes. And now Josh has it in his assignments, telling time to the nearest hour. So that's how I would assign assignments and go from there. So if this is something that you're actually looking at, the I Know It, it's good for a year, and it is a little expensive, but for everything you get from it, I think it's well worth the money that I put towards. And I use, for the I Know It, I use my Lake Region funds for it to go towards my website subscription. And I'm just going to log out because it will show pricing there. And it gives the breakdown of what you want to do. I have a single teacher membership, so I can have up to 25 students. And then it gives a breakdown of the things that you get. I really like that technical support. I had problems in October when we were distance ed. I had a couple parents call and tell me or text me and say, I can't get logged on to I Know It. It's not working. It's not reading the problems. It's not letting my student have access to the assignments. What's going on? And I'm like, well, I'll look into it. And I quickly called up the tech support people and talked to the tech support people. Weren't in, but they actually put me on the phone with the actual owner of iknowit.com, and he was very apologetic, very helpful, saying, okay, well, this is what's going on. Thank you for reporting it to us. They were able to get the information they needed from me. They quickly resolved the issue, and by the next day, technical support had been on it, and the problem was solved, and my students were able to go about doing their assignments. So that is the pricing wise of what you get. And like I said, it is $150 a year for that 1 year. But with that, you get the breakdown of the individual students and what they're doing and where their skills are at. And you can assign the assignments that you need. Let's say you do need more than the 25, you can purchase extra student licenses for $750 per student. And I've seen the best bet for the number of kids I have. Like I said, I'm able to do it with a single teacher membership. Some of the larger schools would need the school membership, which has its perks too, but it is more expensive the more people you bring on board. And there is a free sign up if you want to try it out yourself. They're really great, and that's how I started out, is you get 30 free days to use it. You'd have access to all the different perks and progress monitoring and reports and assigning assignments and all the ins and outs of the I Know It for 30 days. And then you can purchase from there after those 30 days, and it just would continue on as if you'd always had it. So that I would suggest that if it's something that you're looking at that you're interested in. And that's basically all I have for today. If you do have any questions, feel free to contact me either by email, kristi.haadem@k12.nd.us, or give me a call, whatever you need to do. Otherwise, like I said, check out the 30-day trial, and it's really user-friendly. Thank you, and have a nice night. Bye.